guys, Ramblin Bob here. So what is the difference between a higher voltage or a lower voltage when it comes to solar panels? Now, this is something I've learned over the last couple of years, and very important. So there's warnings either way, okay? So when you put two panels in parallel, that means they work together, and both of the positives and both of the negatives come together like this. That's what this one is on this side. This is two REC 400 watt panels, so an 800 watt array, if you will. Usually array is more than two, but we're going to call that an array for today. So what happens in that instance is the volts stay the same, okay? So we stay at 40 volts. However, the amps double, okay? Now this is where you can come into some trouble. Depending on the system that allows, you know, so many amps, like this one allows 15 amps and this one allows 15 amps. So we're going to try that. And this is how you could either gain power or lose power depending on your configuration. Now, if you have two panels, okay, I call it the W. And if you wire them in series, so this one is going to have, this one has two RECs in series, which makes them 80 volts. So when you put them in series, the voltage doubles and the amps stay the same, okay? So this one's going to have 80 volts in it, which is dangerous, guys. So I recommend, you know, safety when you use anything over 48 volts. And then this one's going to come in at 40 volts, which is relatively very safe, you know, for handling. So when you handle something like this, I recommend gloves or a cutoff switch or, you know, something. 80 volts could really, you know, put you in a bad way. So I'm going to show you the difference of power intake between the 80 volts and the 40 volts. Now we're going to plug them in right away. Click the switch on. Okay. Put that one in. Click the switch on. Okay, so now both systems are going. Now remember, this one has 80 volts going to it. 80 volts, okay? This one has only 40 volts going to it. Remember, they're 100% the same panels, 100% the same angle. They're all four on a little overhang for this test, and I just wanted to show you what happens. Now, this one takes a minute to get going because the MPPT controller and the BMS, it seems to talk longer. Okay, there it goes. This one kind of goes right away. So that way, if you have the E1500 LFP, you'll be aware of that before you buy it. Now notice this one peaked out at about 550 watts. Remember, it's 800 watts of panels, okay? They're not aimed perfectly at the sun, but they're all aimed exactly the same, like that, equal. So it's a fair test. Two panels in series, two panels in parallel. Now as you can see, this one is bringing in almost 100, well actually it's 100 watts more. So when you brought this, the voltage up, you're able to bring in more. Now, why is that? Because the max cutoff of these machines is only 15 amps. So if you could bring in more amps, this would show 550 and that would show 550. Now, here's the problems with amps. The more amperage that goes through a wire, the hotter the wire gets and the hotter your connections get. So that's something always to remember. This one is pushing 15 amps right now. And I can show you that, I hope, on this thing. Okay, see that? 14.8 amps. 14.8 amps. That's a lot of amperage, which means the wire heats up a lot more. So now when I put them in series, okay, I double the voltage, remember, and the amps stay the same. So now this is only coming in at approximately 7 or 8 amps. Now what does that do to the line? Cools it down a lot, by 50% almost, because you're only putting 50% of the load through there, right? The amperage, that's called amperage. So that 100 watts, and now to show you that this is a fair test, I'm going to take the 80 volt and I'm going to put on this system, and I'm going to put the 40 volt on this system. Okay, let me turn them off here. Okay, 80's done, and the 40. So now we're going to put the 40 over here. Okay, let's turn that back on. And now remember, this one is the 80. So we're going to see that this is a fair test because now you're switching systems. One thing that's nice with this test also, guys, is I know a lot of people on this channel have followed Pecron. Pecron has made a leaps and bounds better than last year and the year before. So notice that I'm testing 80 volts on both systems. Now normally I don't like to go that high, but Being that the tolerance is 95, I leave myself 15 volts of headroom just in case there's a power spike. Now notice that this one topped out at about 436, right? Now look, watch this one. Oop. See? There's that. Look at that. Even more. Guys, 610. 630. Holy crapzilla. So now why is that? Well, there's another reason for that. So when it comes in at a higher voltage like that, remember, this is a 48 volt system, right? Look at that's 200 watts more, guys. That's 200 flipping watts more that I just got in here. This one can max out at 600 watts, and this one can only max out, or it maxes out at 700 watts. But I get two 600s on this one. But look at that. That's a huge difference, right? 200, I just put 33% more power into this system just by switching the voltage. But you guys, you have to remember this. Switching the voltage is very dangerous when it goes above 48 volts. So just, you know, pay some heed to it. You know what I mean? Learn a lot about it before you do it. Don't take my word for it. Research, 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 guys. Electricity can be dangerous and deadly. So, but notice this, guys. Look at this. 200 watts more by using the exact same run, except I put the voltage up. And remember, with the 80 volts, even though it becomes more dangerous with the 80 volts, as long as you have either a cutoff switch, a fuse, or proper handling gear for when you put the panels outside, and, you know, cutoff switch and all that stuff. Look at that. I get 200 watts more. Isn't that crazy? And now this system, we know, is fully tested now, that this system can handle 80 volts, right? So 80 volts at about 7 or 8 amps, give or take. And that one's coming in, remember, at 15. So if I can show you this one again. Now remember, it's all the way over there, right? As you can see, this cable, it's this one, right? So we're going to look at this one, and notice that's coming in at 14.1 amps, right? I think this E2000 LFP also only allows it to come into 14.1. I've never seen higher than that. I don't know if it was kind of over-spec'd a little bit. You know, it says it's 15 in the instructions, but I've only seen 14.1. Let me know what you guys get. But this one, I've seen a full 15 amp input. Now here's the problem. I can't test this and show you that on the meter, and there's a reason for that. I wish I could. This meter is only designed to hold up to 60 volts. So coming in at 80 volts is obviously 20 volts higher, and I don't want to burn out this meter. I've been looking for another meter like this one that can handle up to 100 volts, but I don't think they have the little portable ones, because these are usually excuse me, these are usually made for the RC world, and RC cars don't go up that high. You don't have a 100 volt RC car, and if you do, I bet you that sucker flies. So, but yeah, long story short, guys, look at that's 210 watts more that I'm getting in this system than that one. Now what I'll do is I'll cut them off again, okay? Okay. Unhook them. Turn them back on. Turn them back on. Those are the cutoff switches you're hearing. That way it's nice and safe. Now notice that one went back to 550, right? 80 volts. And remember, the wire is staying much cooler. There's a reason why that amperage heats up the line so much. The voltage is the pressure, right? The voltage is the pressure that pushes through these lines, but the amperage, the amps for short, is the actual power that goes through the lines, and that's why they heat up so much. So this one running at 80 volts will stay much, much cooler. And how you can test this yourself, or even see it yourself, is notice that when you plug in something in your house, it's 120 volts usually, right? That's usually 110 to 124, somewhere in there. But you know, we take the average of about 120. Now look at, we lost that 200. We lost 200 flipping watts just by switching them. Holy crapzilla. And remember, this is 100% honest. 2 REC 400 watt panels in series and 2 400 watt REC panels in parallel. That's the big difference. Now, one other thing. Oh wait, I got to go back to the line in your house. So if you pick up a cord that runs anything in your house, right, and you're running 15 amps through it, it gets warm, right? A heater, microwave, you know, heavy duty stuff. But be careful when you do that, you know. Just you can use a heat meter, or just, you know, touch it real quick and let it go, just so you could feel the heat, you know, just like rising right out of the cables. But if you were able to go to 220 volts like they do in the UK, that would be half the amperage, and then obviously they could run much cooler. That's why sound guys and big systems run higher volts, so they can push less amps, and still the cables are still this big. Holy crap, because if you push them full, you know, a 240 with like 30 or whatever amount of amps are going through, that will still heat up, but it takes that much power. And you take the voltage times the amps will give you the watts. So all you have to do is take that 454 and you divide that by 40, and you'll see how many amps you're getting in. So pretty simple. Hold on, let me get my calculator here. Now, we already know the answer to this question, but what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you how to get it, just in case someone's watching and they don't know. So you take the 454, okay, that's how many watts is coming in, and then you're going to divide that by the 40 volts coming in from the thing. So that's about 11 amps, right? Now remember, we're not getting a full 40 in, because there's see, we're only getting 33. So that's where the other amps come from. Now, the reason for that is because you have what's called VOC, which is open circuit voltage. So the panels are 40 volts. So now you have to take that 450, was it 454, and you're going to divide that by 33, because that's what's known as the working voltage. It has to, you know, dip down, because whenever you put a strain or a load on a system, the voltage will sag. We have a very special video coming out explaining this. So equals, now look at that, 13.75. Now that's very close to 14 volts, right? I'm sorry, 14 amps. So now you have an understanding of on a calculator of how to get that for yourself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these off again, unplug that one, unplug that one, plug in that one, and plug in. I'm going to put this one over here, run it along the back here. And the cleaner you do your runs, okay, so now we'll see it one more time, and then we're going to call it quits for this video. This will be one of the shortest videos I ever made, but probably one of the most important videos, because voltage and amps and electricity in general is extremely dangerous, guys. Now let's watch that go back to 650, and then we'll give it 2 thumbs up like that, maybe more if I had more thumbs. And then now you understand. But remember, everything above 48 volts, guys, treat with extreme caution, because you don't want to end up in the hospital, okay? Look at 550. It's whooping that one's butt, isn't it? We got 440 over there, and look at this, 630. Let's get 640. Come on, come on. Almost. Okay, so 439, and oh, there you go, 640. Bam. So now we have 200 extra watts that literally just appeared from nowhere. And like I said, you don't have to have such thick cables. I recommend at least 12 gauge cable or higher. 10 is good, 8 is great, but 12 seems to be okay. That's what I'm using now. But 200 watts more. The proof is in the pudding, guys, right? All right, so hopefully this video helps a lot of people. This is another string that we got coming in here. The solar is extremely good today, so I'm going to pump this up here. And this is another 600 watts. That's the Harbor Freights that we have on there, so you're going to see that go up probably 1,000. If you're not a subscriber, guys, we need you. We need you as part of this team. We're building a subscriber family, and that's where people come 24 hours a day to your rescue. If you have a question, a problem, an inquiry, anything, you know, what kind of panel should I buy? What items are out there? We're building that database there where you can go and you can literally print out the little cheat sheets, and then you can you know, put them side by side and say, well, I didn't know that had that. I didn't know this had that. Input, output, USB-C, yes please. For a power delivery port, these don't have that, but their new one does, the E300 LFP for Pecron. So that's what we're trying to do, guys. We're trying to get like a 650 watts, 200 extra watts. Boy, that's hard to believe sometimes, but see, you know, the proof is in the pudding, guys. All right, so join the subscriber family, guys. We need you here, and ramble on. Please like this video. It helps that algorithm thingy that YouTube has, so other people can understand and learn too. Even though I'm not an expert, guys, I'm an amateur, but I'm learning as quick as I can to help people, and that's what this channel is about, is helping people. But I want to get this out there to a lot of people so they don't make the mistake of just buying something and willy-nilly pushing the voltage up to a crazy amount and getting shocked and end up in the hospital or even worse. All right, guys, ramble on. Be safe as always. Double thumbs up for this experiment. It was awesome. This test was great. And I'll see you guys here on Ramblin Bob Reviews. Bye, guys.